widening both her jaws and eyes in shock and pain.
I told you to go to the drop. You never listened, she said painfully. Do you have the disc? Agent Mike Harvey said. Yes, but my mom is in pain. We have to treat her first. Pass the disc to me, he said. What? Black yelled out. Give him the disc, Black, where I'll always follow. You should have gone to the drop, Jennifer said. Black took the disc and handed it to the man's hand, who snatched it from his hand, turning it in his hands before smiling at him. You should have listened to your mother, not just be dumb and act and follow her skirt all around, Agent Mike Harvey said as he walked back to his car. Black packed the car, rushing to open the door for his mother when he heard the police sirens. With shock on his face, he turned to see them surrounded with all shades of police, carrying different guns. The both of you better put your hand on your head before we shoot, I said. Put your hand on your head. She's bleeding. She's going to die. She's ducking, bleeding, Black yelled out. A bullet rang in the air, the officer shooting at the floor to scare them. Now put your hand on your head or else the bullet would be going to your head next and not the floor, he yelled out again.
Chapter 1.
A middle-aged man in his early 30s seated in front of his laptop, tapping his hand on the desk frantically as his eyes stared at the screen. His jaw clenched, and his eyes void of any playfulness. His heart skipped a beat when he heard the buzzer on his table go off and his secretary entered the room. Evening, sir, Juliet greeted. How are you, Juliet? He asked, spinning himself in the chair slowly as he gulped down. Are we working late tonight? She questioned, her eyes darting to the table. PG. 20. Of course not. You may leave. I'll leave the office soon too. All right. What time should I arrive tomorrow? She asked him, tucking her 9mm gun in her waist. Have some time to yourself, have breakfast, and then you can start coming, Peter said, his lips curling into a smile. All right, sir, Juliet nodded, turning and walking out of the room. Peter pressed a button on the table again, closing the door as he turned back to the laptop. The file he was downloading was done, gulping down again before clicking the play button and watching it. Anger consumed him at every second of the video. Slamming his hand on his table, his veins popped up on his head as he removed the disc. Fuck, he cursed out, breaking it in 2 pieces and crushing it more before packing it into a nylon.
Mark always borrow money from the deadliest people, always getting us into PG. 22. Trouble every fucking time, he muttered as he clenched his jaw, pacing back and forth the room without having no idea what to do next. He sighed, turning off his laptop before picking his suit jacket and putting it on. Switching off the light in the office, he walked out, closing the door and walking down the stairs.
The evening hustle and bustle of the Brooklyn street made him adjust his cap, lowering his head to avoid any other pedestrians from seeing him. An old man in his late 60s was on his bed, his eyes wide open as he stared at the ceiling. He took a deep breath, exhaling it out again and doing it repeatedly. His alarm buzzed from the table, his feet rising from the bed immediately as he picked it up and turned it off. He took a handkerchief and picked his 9mm shotgun on the table, wiping it clean, picking up his phone and dialing out a number. Eric, I'm ready, come pick me up, he said, cutting the call immediately. Adorning himself in a gray suit and a cap to complete it, his hand picked up one of the rolled blunt, lighting it up and tucking his gun to his waist, taking a drag from it and puffing it into the room. He checked his look in the mirror, his lips curling up into a smile as he walked out. He checked his phone for the umpteenth time that they've got into this place, dumping the half-smoked blunt to the floor outside the window before a text entered his phone. His eyes checked his 2 sides as he saw a black car parked beside them, opening
PG. 25.
the door and taking a newspaper in, his cap covering half of his face. He walked forward. Mr. Jeffrey, the man he had been waiting for, called out. Christopher, long time, he replied. I don't have enough time to waste with you, so I'll go straight to my point. You probably know by now that I don't have any interest in you or your men. I'm here for the cash and the business, and your people believe in loyalty. While that shit hasn't gotten us in the organization anywhere,